Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. This week's show, we're going to recap Fight to Win 89. We're going to preview Fight to Win 90. We're going to preview the Black Belt CBD Invitational. We're going to preview Serious Grappling and Marinas Pro Japan. We are also going to recap Grappling Industries Joe Costello versus Gladio Almeida and recap Fight to Win 88. We didn't get a chance to fully cover that last week, so we're going to run through and do it again today. As always, I'm your host, Maine, here, joined with my co-host,
Emil.
How you doing, Emil?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Maine?
Doing pretty good. How's your week been?
It's been, it's Monday, so it's been pretty good in that, I survived Monday. I'm here. I'm ready to fucking podcast.
You ready to podcast? Ready to talk about jiu-jitsu?
I'm ready.
All the jiu-jitsu that you've watched over this past week.
That's right.
It's been a pretty good week. So we had a seminar at the gym with Shane Jamil Hill Taylor.
Oh, shoot. How was it, man?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I want to play lasso guard now.
Yeah?
I've never been really much of a geek. I mean, I probably train in the gi like 4 days a week, 5 days a week. But I've always been much more of a no-gi. I think you're a no-gi guy too.
Yeah, I am too, man.
But this got me like hyped to do gi stuff again. Just what he showed, and then I got to do a round with him. I have a video of me doing a round with Shane.
You mean you have a video of you getting absolutely demolished for 5
Dude,
minutes?
it was the nicest demolishing of all the years I've been in jiu-jitsu. It was just like he was at any point he could have absolutely crushed me, but he chose to just like let me work. But not like, I'm going to let you get the pass, but like let you almost get to where you're past and then stop you and then turn you over. Like, dude, he flipped me with a lasso guard sweep over his head like a fucking acrobat. It was amazing. Training with that dude is amazing. Super glad I picked him to win the world in 2018. Back in like the end of 2017 on our December show. You can go back and find it. You say, we're doing predictions of like, I think he'll win this year. And then he fucking did.
What's the biggest difference you felt rolling with a world champion? Like what?
He is 5 moves ahead of you. It's not really that's what it is. It's like he just knows where you're gonna be. He doesn't have to use strength for stuff because like he is so far ahead of me. Like I'm a decent purple belt. Like I can compete. Like I'm an okay purple belt. I'm not a world beater by any means, and I'm not a shitty purple belt. Rolling with him is like he knew all of the things I could do. As soon as I started to move, he would figure out what I was going to do. He would figure out how far he was going to let me get in a position, and then he would reverse me or sweep me or turn me or get on top, or he would just choose to do whatever he wanted to do, and then we would continue from there, and he would let me move again. And it was just like, it didn't. I was going to say it felt like a white belt, one with a white belt, but that's not what it felt like, because it felt like he understood that I had enough skills, I could do things, and I knew stuff, but he was just going to let me move where I wanted to move to,
right,
and then counter me. Because it wasn't like, oh, it's a white belt, doesn't know what he's doing. It was like, I know what this guy's going to do before he's going to do it, and he's going to do some of the right things, and it doesn't even matter.
That's wild, man.
It was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. There's a cool meme that gets posted occasionally. It's like a LeBron, a bunch of basketball players, and it's like, you'll probably never train with these guys. And it has a bunch of like world champions on it. And it goes, but you could train with these guys. This was my first experience like with you could train with these guys. It was just like, oh, we just had him for a seminar at the gym I go to, like primarily. And he taught us like his world championship game and then let us train with him and like got a picture. And it was like super cool guy, super cool game, good instruction. It was like a 3-hour seminar.
Awesome.
It was amazing. So that was my week. I'm still super hyped about that. Cannot wait. He's on Spider coming up. So we got to talk to him a little bit about Spider. Josh was there too. Josh Weinstock.
Sweet.
Yeah. Also co-host on the Grappling Rewind podcast.
That's right.
When he comes on. So again, I think him and I will probably talk about that a little later at some other point in time because he probably took away way different stuff being a much more experienced brown belt than I am.
Absolutely.
But it was a cool ass event this weekend.
That sounds awesome.
What else you got for news? What else do you have for news this week, Emil?
Well, personally speaking, it's been a pretty standard jiu-jitsu week, but we saw several more Sulabev stretches this week.
That's what Zabit Magomedov hit in UFC, and then Sterling hit it. Aljamain Sterling hit it in the same night a couple of weeks ago.
I am in utter awe that you just crushed Zabit's name.
Dude, I've listened to there's a show I watch called Heavy Hands. They do like striking and MMA analysis. It's not a podcast. Really great guys. It's on YouTube, it's on iTunes, and I listened to them pronounce. They've been following him for years, and they pronounce his name over and over and over again. So a lot of the names I can get from MMA, I get from those guys because they pronounce it properly.
I'm just flabbergasted that you can do that, and yet. For those of you who are listening, Maine and I were texting to coordinate recording today, and he sends me a screenshot of the conversation, and he has none of my 3 names correct in his phone. My full name is Emil Santos Rosado, and he got none of those correct.
Yeah, they're all misspelled. There's an E on the first name.
I can't
There's
even
a dash and
replicate
a
what you
hyphen.
did. Like,
It looks,
but
dude,
hey,
it looks Hispanic. It's great.
If you can get the pro fighters and the pro jiu-jitsu players' names right, that's all that matters.
Yo, at this point, I should get your name now. Like, I've known you for like years, and we do a podcast together.
We'll work on it. But
So,
it
yeah.
was cool to see those submissions. It's funny to see when things get really popular and everyone wants to do them, and it's been popping up a lot. So
Yeah. So, in other cool news, Spider Korea is coming up. We're going to preview that when it comes closer. I think it's on like the 3rd of November. But just announced Hulk versus Verdum. That's exciting. So Verdum is on that USADA suspension now.
oh,
So we may see him
Damn.
get bored and start doing more grappling.
I am okay with that. You know how I feel about Japan rules.
It's Korea. But,
It's
you know,
Korea rules, but it's Japan rules. You know what I'm saying?
it is Japan rules. Dude, Hulk versus Verdum. Verdum's like a 2-time ADCC champion or something like that.
Verdum is I can't remember how many times he's won ADCC.
I think he's 2-time champion.
He's IBJJF champ too.
Oh,
So-
yeah, he is, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Forgot
man.
about that. I don't
Dude,
know how.
he's-
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, legit grappling credentials. Hulk again,
Yeah.
right on the upper echelon of current guys. So that's a super exciting matchup. Shane's also on this too.
Hell yeah.
I cannot find his super fight to save my ass. I looked it up before the recording and I was like, where the fuck? Who is he against? I talked to him about it at the seminar and he was like, yeah, this guy. I was like, oh yeah, I know who that guy is. And then I didn't have my phone with me, didn't write it down. And then all of the rest of the stuff he taught just went out the window. so that's coming up.
Barbosa's a beast. This is gonna be good.
Dude, it's going to be great. So let's get into the recaps, Emil. So on to our recap of Fight to Win 89 in Miami. This event paid at a total of $33,860 in salaries and commissions and was headlined by Wagner Hosha versus Augusto Mendez. That was fight of the night. Deservedly so. Let's talk about that first, actually, because it was such a good event.
I know, it's so awesome when headlining fights live up to, you pick people for headliners because you want a fire match, and these guys absolutely brought it.
Dude, Miami was on fire.
Yeah,
The entire dude, his daughter, Wagner's daughter, her nickname is VRD, which stands for Wagner Rocha's daughter, which made me laugh. And his son was on the card too. He had a great match on the Kids and Teens.
Yeah.
Like literally, it was like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Went to decision. His son actually didn't get lost, didn't win, but his daughter hit a sweet ass knee bar. Like we'll talk about those a little later. But let's get into this match because this match was a treat to say the least.
Absolutely. And, one thing that we clearly learned from this match, that both Taquinho and Wagner Hosha are obviously amazing competitors with great reputations. No one comes out and says, hey, these guys are leg lock wizards. But you know what? They clearly are amazing technicians.
They were in 50-50 for a huge, probably like 3 minutes of this match.
Easily.
Both attacking
Yeah.
and both transitioning. And then when they both chose the right time to disengage and like went to something else. They weren't stuck. They didn't get stuck there like a lot of guys do because they're both that good where they could get in and out of the position. It was amazing.
And I don't know how much of this is, just their basic skill set, but I know that both of them have had run-ins with the Danaher Death Squad guys.
Yeah,
right?
the commentary brought it up actually.
Yeah, so you have Taquinho basically fought against Eddie Cummings in Polaris 3, and that was a big. I remember that because
that was a big deal matchup.
It was a big deal matchup. That was really, I think, Eddie Cummings' first world-class level competition. He had been running through people at that point.
Yeah.
And then he hit a wall when he got to Augusto Mendez. And
that ended up being kind of a weird match.
he got stuffed. And I remember this because right beforehand, Eddie had, gone on about how, leg locks are so effective. It's a stunning indictment to the jiu-jitsu community's, basically ignorance. He said stunning indictment.
And he kind of wasn't wrong for a big piece of the community back then, but
I remember this so distinctly because Ryan Hall, after this match, started like calling him out, being like, "Oh yeah, it was a stunning indictment." Like, like how good are you, Eddie Cummings, more or less. Which is, to be fair, I mean, come on. Like,
So it's one of those
Eddie's
90s
incredible, and I don't think a single match will dictate his legacy in jiu-jitsu, but it
Look,
was...
if Vinny Magalhaes says anything, it's leg locks don't work. Until they do, and you watch a guy get his knee broken in half, and you're like, oh, maybe it does work a little bit, actually.
I feel like people say crap like that to sell, like, rash guards with hashtags on them, or like whatever, like
hashtag fuck Craig Jones.
yeah, hashtag fuck Craig
I want that
Jones,
rash guard.
or like Khabib wearing like if Sambo were easy to be called jiu-jitsu type stuff. But either way, Toquinho is able to survive Eddie Cummings, and then Wagner Hosha has fought both Gary Tonin and Gordon Ryan, and not gotten subbed in those. And I think he actually won
in its own right. I forget which one of them he beat.
I'm pretty sure he beat Tonin. I want to say he beat Gordon, or at least he didn't get subbed by him. He didn't get subbed by either. So if you can survive leg
guys
attacks
at that level from the DDS guys,
I think your leg game is incredible, and we saw that on display here, not just defensively but offensively, as you were saying.
Yeah, it was a really great. Again, this was even about half. We think they were in the leg lock entanglement for probably about like at the 6-minute mark or so, and then it's a 10-minute match because it's a title fight.
Mm-hmm.
So this is for all the marbles, and it's Wagner. Again, one thing I will never bet against Wagner is Wagner in Miami, I will say, is almost unbeatable. He subbed Dante Leon to Grappling Industries in Miami. Like, dude is a monster when him and the whole Fight Sports team are behind him. Like, I think he had Cyborg in his corner. Like, dude is a monster in Miami.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to touch on here is...
Oh, Wagner wins, by the way, so we haven't even talked about that.
We'll talk about the end sequence
at the end.
in a
Wagner
second.
does get the decision
and
at
it's
the
amazing.
end. It is amazing.
But essentially, what we learned, I think, from leg attacks here, at least what I was observing, was I saw Wagner in the times that he was sort of on bottom in this kind of inverted 50-50 type position, he was attacking on both sides. He's shifting the leg.
Yeah, he kept passing Toquinho's leg over a center line to attack the inside and the outside leg for both the heel hook and the straight ankle lock.
So even though Toquinho was kind of posting up and squashing him in that inverted position the same way he got out of Eddie Cummings' attacks, it seemed like Wagner was able to attack more and shift around more
he was
from
definitely...
a 50-50 position than a saddle position. And I think that is interesting. I'm going to have to keep an eye out for that more, because we see guys getting stuck when they're in the saddle.
It seems like the saddle is like an end point.
Yes.
Like, you get to the saddle, one guy can go, the other guy can't go.
Right.
In the 50-50, both guys can go, but it gives you more opportunity to move the leg around to either side. It gives you more opportunity to defend the leg on either side. But it is definitely it's again 50-50 for a reason.
Yep.
You can call it like 50, what's the term? 40-60 or 80-20, all those different ways to call it. But it is a more even position in the saddle, which I think is really a terminal position at the end. Like, you usually you're not doing other things to change your position aside from escaping the saddle.
Yeah,
really, I think is a good way to think about that. At least how I think about it. But I definitely think you're correct that you get much more ability to attack more items from 50-50 than you do in the saddle.
It's an interesting development, so I want to keep an eye out for that as a technique. But
so
do you want to talk about the end sequence here?
Dude, he gets on his back.
Yeah.
Wagner gets Toquinho's back with like 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
And you're like, all of a sudden they're going, and so he just like rolls and he's on his back. And you're like, holy shit, he got Toquinho's back. And he does what I love watching guys do. He's going for the choke. He isolates the arm, and then he starts cupping his face.
He thugs out, dude. He thugs out every time.
Well, the thing, Wagner got a smother choke, like I want to say, like a couple months ago at XFN. He had a combat jiu-jitsu match, and he smother choked the dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's not going to smother choke Toquinho.
No,
but he might get that.
Especially with like whatever 15 seconds left.
Toquinho will go to sleep. He's like, he will pass out before he taps to that.
100%. And it was a beautiful sequence, because I think it initiated somewhere around 30 seconds left, and just Wagner hits a beautiful blast double. And then that's when he gets the scramble initiated and gets to the back, and just starts
hooks. And you see him just start to climb, and like he knows he's low on time, and he's gonna try to finish.
Oh, dude, he was going.
At that point, it was a
110%.
real even match. Like, I think I would have given it to Wagner a little more he was a little more active in leg positions, but not a whole lot. Like, it was a close match to that point. And then you see Wagner get the back, start smother choking.
Oh yeah.
And then he's doing the thing. He's trying to lift the head up and snap the same side arm. And it's so hard to snap that same side arm under on a guy that's as good as Toquinho is.
Yeah, absolutely. But what was awesome was, as thuggish as that ending was, like the show, the sportsmanship was great.
Dude, as soon as it's over, they're both like happy
and
as shit.
Even halfway through the match when they reset, they were both laughing and kind
Yeah.
of like, so they were going super hard, but still keeping it like real friendly and respectful.
Yeah.
So it was awesome.
It
match
was
to
a
watch.
beautiful match. I mean, deservedly fight of the night for the black belts on that. Wagner becomes the black belt lightweight and welterweight no-gi champion for Fight to Win. Again, just great performance. Go back and watch it. Replays are up for the entire event. It's great. It's about 5.5 hours long. This whole card from the kiddos all the way up to the purple belts into the black belts was just insane. There's 17 black belts, 17 black belt matches on this card. Commentary also on point for this event. They had Tubby Aliquin, Amanda Aliquin, great, really high level female competitor, super knowledgeable. It's something I find happens more and more is if you get super high level grapplers, usually like IBJJF, are like really they're good on the mic. They understand how to talk about shit. Again, AJ Agazarm, I think, is one of the best commentators. Like, they know how to talk on the mic. The other commentator, I'm going to butcher his name.
Javier
Byron.
Dude,
Yeah. Great commentator as well. Like, they played off each other well. They brought different knowledge sets to the event. They were talking about the competitors, about the position. They were doing predictive commentary about like, oh, he should do this with his hand. He should, it was complex predictive commentary. It was like, he is looking for this. He is going to defend it like X, Y, or Z. If he does this, they will go here, and that would happen. And you're great. They would talk about the next position. It was really, really good commentary. It was very nice to listen to if you're going to watch a 5.5 hour event. And they were engaged from the beginning match, from the first match, all the way to the black belts. They didn't sort of do that wane thing that people start to do halfway through the black belts a lot of times.
it was good flow the entire time. It was really, really excellent
It was
commentary.
great. So enough about that match. What's the next match you want to talk about, Emil?
I want to talk about the submission of the night for the black belts. That's Jake Ferreira defeating John Moramarco by flying armbar. This match was so good that I almost wish that the flying armbar didn't happen because it ended the match.
He sets it up as a flying triangle.
Yeah, absolutely.
He throws the flying triangle. I was like, oh shit, and then he immediately switches off to the flying armbar, and I was like, to armbar. I was like, oh shit.
And it happened only like something like between 2 and 3 minutes in, and already in those 2 to 3 minutes, you had more than 5 matches combined in terms of action.
They were busy. They were busy to say the least.
Single legs. Amazing technique, and these guys had that kind of prototypical jiu-jitsu body build where they got the lankiness going.
Prototypical jiu-jitsu body build.
I mean,
Emil,
it's
are you jealous?
I'm just saying, I'm short and stumpy. I wish I had long, lanky legs, and
it would be helpful for a lot of things.
Yes,
not gonna lie.
And these guys used it well, and they weren't just sitting there relying. Sometimes these guys will hang out in like lasso guard or spider guard or something like that. These guys were all over the place, and it was awesome. So really exciting finish to a really awesome beginning for a match.
So next person I want to talk about, just really briefly, I want to talk about the Remy Gonzalez defeating Vitor. How do you say the name, Emil?
Viciotti, I think.
Okay. He finishes him with a reverse cradle. This is a really cool match because you saw a bunch of really weird transitions. I mean, that's really how the best way to put them. Weird transitions and unorthodox positions. A lot of
almost like catch wrestling type stuff.
Kind of, yeah, but it was just there was a lot of really weird stuff that you don't see, and the dude was was dangerous from all of these different positions, and it was just a very, very fun back and forth match. Go back and watch this match specifically for how to attack from weird positions. And he almost had a couple things at numerous times that was even the commentary stuff was explaining what he was doing and how he was going through it, and how they were talking about, well, I've never seen someone attack that from there. These are both on commentary really good black belts, and to have good black belts talking about I've not seen someone attack that in that way before in a black belt match. It was super cool. It was definitely it was definitely worth it to go back and watch that match. I think the last black belt match I want to talk about, in depth is Enrico Coco. It really just the finish sequence of the Enrico Coco match versus Ricky Slameglia. Dude hits a super hard and fast head and arm triangle, and Slameglia goes to sleep in what do you think of me? 8 seconds, 6 seconds,
something about 6 or 7 seconds, and he was out cold. I mean, the commentators called it before. They could see how deep.
Well, you can see his hand kind of they have the far side camera angle, so you're looking at Coco's back, and you can't see the head of Vitor.
Right.
And so you see his hand kind of droop down. You're like, oh, I think
Stops
he's
fighting.
asleep. And they switch to the other angle, and you hear the commentators go, he's out, he's out. And you see like, oh, he is very asleep right now. And then the ref goes like, oh, shit, he's out.
Absolutely, and I think you could almost from a positioning standpoint kind of see how deep that was because Remy had his forehead. Enrico had his forehead to the mat. I mean, he had
Deep.
really, really good,
Dude,
heavy.
his step over on this was amazing. So they kind of restart in the position. He kind of has the head and arm like he's in the angle, and he's in mount, and he jumps over and does a hip switch off of Ricky's body. That was maybe the quickest transition over. Like Gordon Ryan versus Craig Jones is a quick like leg switch over. This was an entire like sprawl off of the body to get to the side control position.
Absolutely.
I cannot think, Camille, can you think of a time where you've seen that more quickly than that match?
I haven't, and you know it's deep and fast when someone goes out to a head and arm in 6 to 7 seconds, because usually there's that like maybe even up to a minute or two of fighting where they're trying to telephone, and people will give up based on just being uncomfortable or beginning to kind of like lose a little bit of blood flow there, but this was just out.
It was amazing. So one of the times, Jesus, I got put to sleep really bad was with this move, with a head and arm, is because I got the guy got the head and arm on me. I went to bridge, and then I just went to sleep barely. And then he was pointing his head the other way, and I was like, notoriously when I was like, I think I was a white belt, like really hard to get with chokes, so I just like fight it super hard, and he was just like cranking, just trying to finish me, and apparently like I made a noise, he was like, oh, he's almost out, and then like he let go, and apparently I was just looking at the ceiling, like my eyes were open, just like, asleep, and I came to with someone in my gym going, we might have to give him mouth to mouth, and I was like coming in, I was like, oh dear God, please tell me this is not happening. And yeah, dude, but
respect the head and arm, man.
Dude, I did, but it was literally like he switched his body over on me, and I was unconscious in like a second and a half. Like I went to go bridge, and I was just asleep already, like the first event. So I get these things again, especially when with where Coco had it, how deep they can get and how fast when it's in good you can go to sleep. Again, really cool finish, amazing step over in this position. So go back and watch that match. It's a lot of fun. Again, dude, the whole replay's up. There are very few matches on this card that were even like slower. Miami brought the fucking heat.
I'm just looking through these, and we had Valdir Arujo versus defeating Marcos Marcial by a lightning fast heel hook from half guard. You had Rodrigo Mendez the match before that defeating Joseph Rivera by wrist lock. That had an amazing overhead sweep. I'm just looking through. I'm not going to go through all of these right now, but it's just so many matches where it was really exciting finishes with really awesome setups.
Yeah, so let's go through the Black Belt results tonight now. Kevin Gallagher defeats Rodrigo Tunez via heel hook. Victor Doria defeats
Raul Jimenez via decision. Kevin Javier Mahecha defeating Eduardo Perez by armbar. Devin Moultrie defeating Sam McCoy by decision. Mateo Londono defeating Adrian Benavides by decision. And then what we were talking about earlier, we had Enrico Coco defeating Ricky Samiglia by head and arm choke. You had Remy Gonzalez defeating Vitor Ricciotti by reverse cradle. Beto Repeto defeating Leandro Albuquerque by calf slicer.
Dude, he finishes him. That's match. He finishes him with 7 seconds left.
It's just
like at the last second, like he switches the leg. And I was like, he's not gonna fucking go for that, and he just cranks. And you're like, oh shit! And he taps. It's like, goddamn, 7 seconds left. Finished it, and that's like again, that was this whole card.
This whole card is just awesome.
Dude, we had Herbert Burns on this card as well, defeating Josh Garcia. Lots of leg locks back and forth from both of these guys, and it was again, I don't know why I didn't really picture or didn't really remember Herbert as much of a leg guy as he was. So I apparently need to go back and watch more footage on him because he was attacking a lot of legs like repeatedly.
Sometimes people adapt, and they get better at it. So definitely go back and watch Jake Ferrer defeating John Moramarco by the flying armbar submission. That's just a dope match. Jorge Santiago defeating Andre Freire by decision.
That's actually how he said it, by the way.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it. You just said it out. It's like Freire or something.
Alexandre Pimentel defeating Ricky Nelson by triangle. Vitor Schlosser defeating Giuliano Santos by cross choke from mount. Jeff Frost Niles defeating Forrest Moyano by triangle. It's just submission after submission here.
They brought it, man.
Rodrigo Francione defeating Adam Ferreira via decision. Rodrigo Mendez defeating Joseph Riviera by wrist lock. And again, there's really dope overhead sweep there. Valdir Arujo defeating Marcos Marcial by ankle lock. Jesus Galvacente defeating Fred Monaccio. Monchau.
I was gonna give you that one.
Monchau.
It's Jay-Z Galvacante.
Okay.
I left the Jay-Z.
Jay-Z, gotcha.
JV, sorry.
And that was by decision.
Jay-Z, sorry. My
And
bad.
then, of course, you have Wagner Hosha defeating Augusto Mendes by decision.
That's just the black belts.
That's just absolute fire.
So the brown belts, we had Maggie Garandali defeating Brittany Elkin for decision. She becomes the Nogi purple belt and brown belt welterweight champion.
Unreal.
Dude, she's so fucking good.
Evidently on a tear here, so.
She's the purple belt world champion. I mean, you're dating or married to? I think she's like Cyborg's girlfriend. I don't know if they're dating or I don't know if they're married or not. I haven't really creeped that hard to know that, but he's definitely in her corner. He was here in Baltimore when she won the brown belt title as a purple belt against Vanessa, one of the Team Lord Irvin woman that previously had the title in Nogi.
Unreal, man.
At the other weight class. So again, she has just looked unstoppable recently.
Awesome to see her.
She hit an amazing single leg here. She basically just lifted Brittany up from just wanted the single leg. It was God damn. So again, if you're not already watching her, keep an eye on her for, I assume when she gets brown here in the next any day now, because she's already competing against brown belts. She's been competing against brown belts. She won, her and Cyborg both took double gold at the Miami Open the next day. It was really cool to look on this on Instagram because a lot of these competitors were on Fight to Win one night and then literally on the Miami Open the next day. Cyborg was one of those. Maggie Garandali was there, won double gold. It was cool to watch just how.
Just their warm up for the main tournament. That's unbelievable.
Basically. So we had you do the names again, Neil.
Okay.
This is working out pretty well.
Shireen Nelson via defeating Gina Sanchez by bow and arrow choke.
And that was submission of the night for the brown belts. Don't take my thing, Neil.
Okay, all right. Thiago Alves defeating Troy Everett by triangle knee bar.
This is Troy Everett.
Yeah.
Dude, night pigeon. So dude shows up. 10 minutes. He had 10 minutes. So Thiago Alves' opponent didn't show. And then Seth was like, all right, Troy, you're up. And so Troy has 10 minutes, tapes his ankle up.
Whips out a gi and steps on the mat like a total badass.
That's what all the Fight to Win guys do. They're all
so
ready to go. Seth jumped in before, Brittany's jumped in before, Troy's jumped in. When there's a match that needs to happen where somebody's opponent doesn't show up or somebody gets injured warming up or something, they show up and do it. And Troy gets snapped down super fucking hard at the beginning of this. When I was like, "Whoa, this is gonna be a tough match."
Oh yeah, the collar drag. I remember that.
Just snaps him down. You're like, "Oh shit, Troy, maybe 10 minutes. Maybe you need a little more warm up because this Brazilian dude is coming."
Yeah, he was coming. All right, that was unreal.
This actually looked like, so Seth called it a triangle knee bar. It looked like a triangle from the back when he just crunched the body in from the angle. Look, Seth was coaching because that's what he does for Brittany and for Troy when they're on the road. So we were looking at Troy and Thiago facing towards the camera, and Seth was looking at their back, so he actually had to call what it was by seeing it from the back, and it looked like it had a knee bar, but it looked to me as if it was like a reverse triangle or a triangle from the back.
Got it.
But again, a really cool match. Props to Troy.
Yeah, for stepping up.
Dude, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You got to fight a good brown belt on 10 minutes notice.
Yep.
And put up a good goddamn fight.
Yeah.
So it's super impressive. Always love, shout out Troy. Whenever the Fight to Win guys, Team No Sleep, compete. Like to talk about it. So next match.
We got Mauricio Gomez defeating Orlando Castillo by heel hook. Daniel Fundura defeating Dan Cabrera by Martinez by decision. Kester Mark defeating Joseph Gabara by decision, and that was fight of the night.
You taking my shit, Emil?
That's right.
That's fight of the night for the brown belts. I got one thing. I can't read names for shit, so I say fight of the night or submission of the night for the belts.
Okay.
On the purple belt results.
We got Anthony Hine defeating Marcelo Bruzzo by decision.
And that was fight of the night for the purple belts, Emil.
Igor Feliz defeating Bernardo Delibero by rear naked choke. Benjamin Kunzel defeating Renard Gonzalez by decision. Jasmine Rocha defeating Miranda Galban by knee bar.
That was submission of the night for the purple belt. So, this is Wagner Rocha's daughter. She looked
so badass,
really fucking good in this match. Apparently, Missy put a little Instagram video on Fight to Win's Instagram, which was she asked her, "How do you feel as a blue belt making purple belt money?" Because apparently she's a blue belt. Did not look like it. She hits the coolest fucking knee bar here. It's a knee bar that I try for that I can almost never finish. So to watch someone actually good at jiu-jitsu like shoot for it. Again, like, I don't know how young she is. I think she's like 15 or 16. Might be younger. I have no idea. His son's 12. I know that. Beautiful technique. Beautiful knee bar. Go back and watch it. I think it's on Instagram. The highlights on Instagram. Go back and watch it. Deservedly fight of the night for the purple belts. I feel like we're going to be seeing big things from her because Wagner occasionally posts competition footage of his daughter, and it's like, oh, she is a murderer.
It's so dope. We talked about this a few weeks ago with Cabrinha and his son Kennedy and Marcial, and it's just so awesome to see.
Oh, you have the killers and their sons and their
or
daughters.
daughters. Like, it's just awesome. It's great to see generational jiu-jitsu like this.
You're like, oh shit, you're so good now.
Yeah.
Like Nicky Ryan, you're like, oh, you're 17. Cool. Like Chin with Jamil, he's 22. Like, I'm never gonna catch that guy.
No.
It's just
no.
I'm okay at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like a competitive purple belt. And then looking at what the kids and these like young adults can do, it's cool, I do this as a hobby. I like that. This watching matches like this cements that. It's like, cool, I do this as a hobby.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Some of these juveniles have a black belt experience, so yeah, absolutely.
Good point, actually.
So we have Kevin Granados defeating Augusto Amason by decision. Delano Taylor defeating Mateus Blomer by decision. Kai Alban defeating Luis Miranda by armbar.
You said that super weird, by the way. I'm just going to tell you now.
What?
You say Kai. You said it super weird.
I think I was clearing my throat a little bit.
Okay.
So.
On to the kids and teens results.
Michael Sainz defeating Achilles Rocha. His name is Achilles Rocha?
That's dope, isn't it?
Damn,
yeah,
dude.
Come on. You're Wagner Hosha. You can name your kid whatever the fuck you want.
Achilles. That is gangster.
Dude, this was a good match. Like, again, we don't cover the kids and teens a ton on this show, but like every time there's a big kids and teens matchup and we watch it, and I'm like, I realized that
I'm going to cover Wagner's kid. I don't want to have to check my closets for Wagner at night before I go to sleep.
Hey, why you not cover my kid?
Yeah, I don't need that.
I don't know why I
shit.
give Wagner an accent. He doesn't have an accent, which always throws me off, dude. Whenever I hear interviews from Wagner, I always think he should have an accent, and then he doesn't, and I'm like, I thought he was Brazilian.
Yeah, I think it's because he kind of got that like Murillo Santana beard going on.
I don't know, dude. He's super unaccented when he speaks, and it's just weird. So this is deservedly fight of the night. Like, these two put on a hell of a matchup. Like, back and forth transitions and armbar attempts, Kimuras and sweeps and back. It was just like, this match had everything, and it didn't look like a regular kids tournament jiu-jitsu. This looked like high level like jiu-jitsu that happened to be like kids. It was crazy. So next match,
we got Victor Delibero defeating Danny Diaz by decision, and finally Melly defeating Sofia Delgado by armbar.
And that was submission of the night for the kids and teens. Great event. Can't say enough good things about it. The whole replay is up on Flow Grappling. That's how I like watching the matches. Even when we pull stuff up to like relook at it before the show, I will usually pull it up out of like the whole format because I keep timestamp notes in my notes that I make, so I can just go back to like specific matches that way.
So it's interesting. We just finished giving you the results for Fight to Win 89, and they initially posted the entire event in one file, and then they went through.
Yeah, it's usually what they do.
And went,
and
match by
individual
match.
matches.
But
yeah.
it was delayed only by a couple hours,
Dude,
so it was really nice for them to turn around.
It takes like 3-4 days to get it up. Other times like this where it's like it's up, a couple hours later,
right?
And then the rest of the matches will filter in, 1 or 2 days later. But I love when the event replay goes up because it's like I missed a match, like I can go back and watch it immediately as opposed to like just we had to remember this from memory, which we're doing a lot of the show with.
Right.
But it's great to be able to have the footage, like, okay, how did this transition happen? Where was his knee? Okay, here. Okay, he came over like this.
Right.
It's really good. So
especially for an audio format, we need to be able to really describe.
We need to have specifics of not like I think his knee was here. It's like, okay, I'm looking at his knee position. Here's where it is. Here's where it lined up. Here's what I found interesting about this position. Here you go. So
88, which we're about to talk about a little bit.
Fight to Win 88.
Fight to Win 88. That one.
Well, that's why we're covering it this week because literally nothing was up.
Right.
And it was like, okay, cool. Like, I don't want to go from memory because it's just like I don't have anything. Nothing was up.
Right. And so here they uploaded every only match by match here. They didn't have the kind of like
which
whole,
is super annoying for me. Like I
I
like
kind of like watching the I agree. I kind of like watching the whole event all the way
just
through.
putting it on. Like
Yeah.
put on the whole event either in the background or like when I sit down and like
Yeah.
I can have one screen and just watch the damn thing.
And it's not, it's not mutually exclusive. You can do both, right?
Well,
Like they did for 89. Yep.
89, both of
Yep.
them are up. It's just
Yeah,
like cool. I
that's
can
perfect.
watch both of these. I can watch an individual match, or I can just click on the whole thing and like watch the black belts. There's 17 black belts on the card, so I think that does it for 89. Let's move on to the recap of Fight to Win 88 again because we kind of half recapped it last week. So Fight to Win 88 Orlando happened last week. Paid at a total of $15,205 in salaries and commissions as I banged the table like an unprofessional dude I am. What matches do you want to talk about? Because again, we covered a little bit of this last week, but what do you want to talk about this week?
I want to talk about how professional Fight to Win is when we had a kind of controversial reset. It was the
Coringa Conway match.
Yes, yeah, that one. It was Fight of the Night actually, and he was it was against Walber Barros. And towards the end of the match, there was a really controversial reset. Basically, Coringa had a headlock snap down on Walber and then tumbled. It was a initiated scramble where he was almost going for like a crucifix, but wasn't quite there and didn't have the arm.
Hadn't gotten to the position yet.
Right,
They were still sort of moving, but they were
he hadn't
in the
locked
process.
the legs around the arm yet, and the ref correctly reset it because they were about to tumble out and
off the mat.
And at this point, Walber still was sort of on his side or almost all the way up on all fours. And when they reset, Coringa was trying to get into side control. And you heard the crowd booing. The commentators weren't having it. Like they even said like, hey,
So
I
what
don't
do
know
you think
about this.
As a grappler, it's like, do you try to bend the rules? Do you try to like reset? Like as a competitor, what do you elect to do? Like, do you try to bend the rules, try to get a better position, or do you try to get the exact position, or do you change your grip? Like, how much leeway do you take on a reset?
So
Because as the guy on top, you lose the momentum. Like
Right.
you lose like where you were going to go because you're on top. You have the beat on a guy. What do you do? What do you think is the right thing to do here from a competitor standpoint and then from a promotion standpoint?
I can't speak to, what I would do because I haven't been on a stage like this before. I'm sure, in my head I want to say, oh yeah, I would definitely go back to the fair position, but if I want that money, man, I'm taking it. I'm taking that side
Let the
control.
dark side out, Neil. Let the dark side out.
But from a promotion standpoint, this is what I wanted to touch on. They're so professional. Seth immediately gets on the mic and he says, if you guys can't decide on what position to restart, stand them up. And the crowd loved it. Both competitors seemed fine with it. It was just a quick way to diffuse the situation.
So when I was at Fight to Win, the most recent rules meeting I was at the last rules meeting for Maryland. I think that was 70. I'm looking literally. I have the event list up, not the event list, the flyer for the event, but it's covered by another schedule on my board, and I can't see it. So the last one, I was at the rules event for the weigh-ins, and Seth was talking about a new rule they had, which was you either drag the competitors back to the center or you stand them up. Like there's no middle ground for that. Those are the two ways they're going to do it. So, but again, we saw it happen at 89 and at 88 where they reset guys in like they tried to recreate the position. So I'm not sure if they've changed that rule since the Maryland card or if it's just like refs doing it or like, I don't know it's not what I heard Seth talk about. But again, we've seen refs even like the next event or that event reset guys basically how to do it in standard jiu-jitsu, which is like try to get the position back, try to recreate the position. And so I'm a big fan of, on the pro events, get two refs out there, drag them back to the center and restart it that way. Don't start them in any other position than they were already in or just reset it completely.
Absolutely. It gets rid of this controversy. But great handling on their part.
Yeah, it was a great way to do it.
What makes
and that's why Seth is such like a good guy for that because like he just knows like, all right, fuck it, it's not gonna work. Stand them both up, make them do it again.
Absolutely.
So another match I want to talk about a little bit was the Dakota Reben versus, give me the name, Emil.
Siraj Budram.
So Siraj actually competed twice on this. He was actually the first black belt on the card, and he defeated Colton Mosby via decision. And so I don't know exactly what happened with Dakota's opponent, but
Siraj steps in which is awesome. You know, it was really cool to see them, to see him kind of step in and say, you know what, fuck it, I'm game. Let's
Fucking
do
leave the
it.
match. And Dakota was also game.
Yeah, he was pretty game. What happened, Maine?
He match starts about 30 seconds in. He flying triangles him.
Yep.
And it's even cooler because this is his black belt debut. We talked about it a little last week, but I actually got to see the video and watch it over and over again. It was really fucking cool. And then so Seth and the whole Fight to Win team are now doing these technique demonstrations, typically for the black belt fight of the night or like a really, really good submission finish. And they had one for Dakota on this one as well. It's basically the flying triangle, and it was great. I also watched a Jeff Glover tutorial this week on the flying triangle. For some reason, I feel like it's a thing I want to start doing.
Just please don't do that on me, man.
You're fine, Mio. We're the same size-ish. You're bigger than me.
Yeah, it's more the surprise, right? Like,
Surprise, flying triangle.
yeah. But it was awesome. Great finish.
So there were actually two dudes on this card that pulled double duty. We had brown belt Philip Rowe pulling double duty early on the brown belt card. He got bow and arrowed by, give me the guy's name.
Mateus Alves.
Okay, that sounds right.
So yeah, he, there's basically a bad guard pull, and Alves goes to mount. Like, he just, Rowe is in a bad spot off the bat, and he actually sort of, I distinctly remember him turning in a very awkward way, where Alves was trying to get to his back, and he starts to, and Philip Rowe starts to kind of turn out and start to come up in a bad way that set him up for that bow and arrow, and he, Alves was able to sink that in, and it was a quick bow and arrow tap.
Deep.
So
It was deep.
So, but good for him for stepping up.
Yeah, and then he steps up into the black belts versus Jim Allers. I can't say the man's name. My bad, dude. If one thing is sure on this show is that we'll put an episode out on Tuesday, and I will fuck up names on Sunday and Monday.
Just don't fuck mine up, all right?
Dude, apparently I do.
On a regular basis.
I still put an E on it occasionally. I had to delete it. By the way, a lot of times I'll say your name, Emil, I write the E in it, and I had to delete it off. It's like ingrained in my head. Yeah, Philip Rowe, Jim Alvarez takes the decision over Philip Rowe in the black belt card. So again, dude, props to him for showing up twice in one night. That's no small task, especially on that stage.
So I also want to talk about Frank Dukes Lavorsi versus Jasper Bozan, because Frank.
We're back to the black belts now.
Yep, just wanted to touch on this because the commentators brought up a really good point. Frank basically is trying to break the guard of Jasper, and Frank slams him once really hard, and the commentators are like, we see slams, we don't think they work that well. In fact, sometimes in the case of things like triangles, and in this case, in the case of a guard where they can get a deeper lapel grip, or with the triangle, they get deeper into the triangle.
Right.
And then he does it again, and sure enough, just like the commentators were saying, Jasper gets a deeper grip, and it ends poorly. So
I honestly, so on both ends of that, getting slammed sucks, and I think unless you train with slams, or you do MMA or something, like, most guys aren't used to the slam. I think because of how infrequently it's trained,
yes,
you can do a lot of stuff with it. Because if you lift me up and slam me, like, it will take me a second to figure out, like, oh shit, like I've trained with slams, but not frequently, and I'm not by any means used to the slam. Like, I'm used to guys lifting me. I'm not used to getting brought back down.
Right.
So
I think it's an important thing for people to train with. It's great that Fight to Win incorporates them, and I love a good slam.
Because it makes guard pull. It makes guard pulling some real shit.
Absolutely.
You can't just pull in a hold and the guy can hold you up and, like, or you can play that game if you want, but the guy that has the opportunity to slam can choose to play that game, or he can choose to put you down.
Actually,
put you down hard.
I just got lifted real high in training on Friday, and I released, and the guy apologized. He didn't need to by any means, like, I wasn't in danger or anything, but I had that instinct and the reflex to release, being like, no, I can't just hold onto guard.
Self-preservation,
yes,
dog.
Yeah, it's real. If you can't underhook to prevent them lifting you.
Yeah.
And we saw
it's real technique.
Actually, we saw during Quintet, Gordon Ryan had a really nice triangle finish where
on Barnett. Yeah, he hooked the leg.
He hooked the leg. That's good technique. That's what you have to do.
And then he shook him down.
And believe me, Barnett would have broken his back if he had the opportunity to. But Gordon had good technique.
We knew Barnett was going to lift him. He was going to try at least lift out of the triangle.
Yeah.
Because is he taller than Gordon?
I got the impression that I haven't seen side by side, but it's hard
He's
to tell when
definitely
they're
a bigger
grappling.
guy.
Yeah, I got the impression that he's a bigger guy. But regardless, I think that's perfect example of you can underhook. There's things that you can do to prevent the slam.
I love that you can slam and fight to win.
I
because
love it too.
gives you more. It gives you more available to you in positions. Like you can slam in that low guard. Even if someone's like on the mat, if you can lift up to your knees and like slam them down.
Right.
Again, it adds that element to prevent stalling.
Right. And so I wonder, if the commentators are right and slamming isn't that effective, do you start stiffening the mats a little bit? Do you
I think that guys don't train it frequently because usually you see like guys get slammed once, twice, and then they'll open up after that. Like it may not be like effective in little quotes there, but it'll get you out of like you see a lot of guys, a lot of 10th Planet guys, you see it, will get in rubber guard and fight to win, and they get lifted and slammed out of it. And it's like, ooh, interesting. Because that rubber guard is specifically supposed to address that, and you see guys certain can posture down sometimes and can stop the slam, but other guys when they're trying to get to the rubber guard, like can kind of get there and they get slammed out of it. So it's I like what it adds to jiu-jitsu, even though you're not going to knock a guy out, which is what I want to do with a slam. I want to be the first TKO and fight to win. That would be dope. I do like it as a tool because, again, not a lot of guys train with them, and you've got to respect that, look, I can lift you here. If you can't stop me from lifting you, I can lift you and bring you back down as hard as I want.
Absolutely.
So, anything else to add on Fight to Win Pro 88? Fight to Win Pro, goddamn, every time. On Fight to Win 88 in Orlando?
Oh, let's go through results.
Awesome. So, starting with the purple belt, or starting with the teen results.
We have Alana Santiago defeating Savannah Devoku by armbar. Alex Vasquez defeating James Markin by triangle.
That was submission of the night for the teens.
Jose Cornell defeating Armando Martinez by decision. Jacob Budhu defeating Max Jolly by decision.
On to the purple belts.
We got Brandon Diaz defeating Joshua Shinley by decision. Sam Sanook defeating Gage Griffin by Darce. Michael Paradis defeating Josh Woods by heel hook. Caitlin Sammons defeating Jeffa Moy by armbar. Jay Enoch defeating Garrett Smith by heel hook. Matt Drinnen defeating Stan Rusinals by flying triangle armbar.
And that was submission of the night for the purple belts.
Chris Emery defeating Ricky Torch by decision.
And that was fight of the night for the purple belts.
Juan Pablo Valero defeating Aiden Collins by bow and arrow. Joey Lugo defeating Frank Laracuente by decision. Brian Vaca Sanchez defeating Yadriel Rios by choke. Jacob Kim defeating Antonio Clausen by decision.
On to the brown belt results. Dude, you're way better at reading the Florida names than I am. Holy crap. I'm watching you read these like, oh, this would be rough if you were not here to do this.
Carlos Machado defeating Kevin Martinkowski by decision.
And that was Friday night for the brown belts.
Andre Porfiro defeating Kenneth Martin by armbar. Felipe Magalhaes defeating Stuart Langley by decision. Patrick Michael Scully Jr. defeating Jason Brannis by triangle. Dylan White defeating Michael Robles by toe hold. Mateus Alves defeating Philip Rowe by bow and arrow.
And that was submission of the night for the brown belts.
Matt Ferraiolo defeating Juan Caballero. Ferriolo. Defeating Juan Caballero Jr. by guillotine.
And on to the black belt results.
Starting from the bottom, Suraj Boudram defeating Colton Mosby by decision. Mick Mahon defeating Max Freitas by wrist lock. Ray Rosado defeating Fletcher Linton by decision. Jim Alders defeating Philip Rowe by decision. Ricky Nelson defeating Fred Ramey by decision. Coringa Conway defeating Walber Barros by decision.
And that was fight of the night for the black belts.
Kevin Gallagher defeating Zach Stanford by footlock. Jasper Buzan defeats Frank Dukes by decision. Dakota Rabin defeating Suraj Boudram by flying triangle.
And that was submission of the night for the black belts.
Thiago Dominguez defeating Josh Sauter by decision. Kevin Peterson defeating Oscar Cardona by decision. Jason Carpalucci defeating Roy Every by decision. Renato Tavares Tavares defeating Ricky Screeton by knee bar.
And that was Fight to Win 88 in Orlando. Again, fun event. It's on Fight. It's on Flow Grappling. The whole event's not up. It's only the fight videos. So if you want to watch the whole event, you are SOL. But the matches are up, so go back and watch them. So, Grappling Industries in Sydney this last weekend had some super fights as well. We're going to talk about the Glauco de Almeida versus Joe Costello finishing sequence for that. Both those matches are up, both the super fight matches are up on Grappling Industries' Facebook page. I like Grappling Industries. I like watching their tournaments. They were actually in Maryland this weekend as well, and one of our teammates competed against Tim Spriggs.
Yeah, Austin had a rough day.
It's fucking rough,
He
man.
lost by inside heel hook, but I mean,
At the end, though,
kudos for him for
competing against Tim fucking Spriggs.
Yeah, dog.
I mean, that's not terrifying.
No,
There's
man.
a reason I don't do open class is for dudes like him and DJ Jackson, who somebody in our gym chat said I think they were bored because they both like showed up to a local event. You're like, you guys are like really fucking good, like world champion, world class level black belts, and have like world championships at the lower belts.
I mean,
and you're showing up to like a local tournament.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? If Spriggs is trying to work on his leg game, and
It doesn't make sense.
he hit Austin, and Austin's no joke, man.
No, dude, DJ Jackson is on Spider in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Or like 2 weeks or something
So
like that.
I mean, maybe they're working it. Maybe they're just trying to like try it out competition wise on kind of like a little bit.
A localer level guy.
Right, exactly. So anyway, the rule sets for the Sydney Grappling Industries no time limit.
I know. I think both super fights were no time limit. I know one of them was finished in like 5 minutes. I think the other one, there's only a partial video up. I think the other one, I think they're both like under 5 minutes, which is always great. Again, they're the ones who put on the Keenan versus Gordon Ryan,
right?
A couple years ago, and that was like I think 90-minute match or like 60-minute match. So again, I like covering these because they do put on cool matches. 60-minute. It was like right around the 60-minute mark.
Yeah. Well, it was like closer to 40 or 50 minutes out of the 60, but yeah,
that was no time limit.
I know. No, I think.
I think it was no time limit.
I researched that match, and if I'm remembering correctly,
dude, I watched it live. I looked away as he finished him.
Yeah, yep.
I looked away. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah.
It's done. So these matches are up. Glauco hits a really cool, not cool, like a really fundamentally solid. This is a big guy jiu-jitsu match.
Yes,
through and through.
But he hits a near side arm bar. That's just textbook. It's really elegant to watch because he does one of the best kind of grip breaking sequences that you can do, and he sort of staples the arm to his chest, and then with his entire body weight leans back and gets a really awesome clean sub.
I had an instructor say basically you hold the arm to your body versus holding you to the arm.
Right.
Basically,
he's not trying to rip the arm out with his arm strength alone.
And when I teach it to students is I always term it as like you're holding a bag of concrete.
Right.
Like when you hold something heavy, you hold it to you. Like that's how you should be holding the arm for those.
Right.
You use the core and you like hold it with your body as opposed to holding it with your arms. And that they have really cool camera angle here for this match, and you can see him like just flex with his torso against it and just pull into it and gets a really clean. You see him sort of like do those little adjustments to the armbar to make sure it's nice and tight and hip into it slowly. So he's turning the arm. Really cool camera angle for this finishing sequence and like a fun end to a super fight match. Anything else to add, Emil?
No, it's great.
And that'll do it. So we're going to do a real quick preview. Marinas Pro is running a tournament in Japan, and the winner of that gets the bid to basically go to their Guam event coming up. I can't find a ton of information. Emil and I kind of looking right now, and there's not a lot.
They always put on a good event, though. So
yeah, I love the production quality from Marinas. So the winner of that goes on to the Guam event, and I just can't find a competitor list right now for that, but that is happening this weekend, and I believe it's on Flow. I don't know. Let me look it up right now. It is not on Flow, actually, but again, it may be on Flow, but I can't figure out where to stream that, but it is happening this weekend. Another event happening this weekend is the Black Belt CBD Invitational. This event, we are going to have a super fight with Frank Mir and Forrest Griffin. Frank Mir is active right now.
Yeah,
in the
I guess
super
so.
fight scene.
He's trying to get that, the grappling money and not completely wreck his body doing MMA. Although,
dude, he wrecked his body in the motorcycle crash more than anything.
Yep.
So honestly, I'm kind of excited. I haven't seen Forrest Griffin in like a minute.
Yeah, he's been quiet for a bit, so
They
we'll
have
see.
this. So the Black Belt CBD guys. Let me not to just cut you off as I do.
Yeah.
Have this listed as the first annual Black Belt CBD Invitational. You cannot have a first annual. You can have an inaugural, and you can have a second annual.
Maine's getting all semantic here.
No. As a jiu-jitsu journalist
Yeah.
in the ALP Styles Guide, you cannot have a first annual. You have to have an inaugural. You can have a second annual. So that event's on that is on the card. We also have Anna Carolina Vieira versus Catherine Perret. I have seen Catherine Perret recently compete. She's been looking real good. And Bia Mesquita versus Luisa Montera. Super excited about those matches. This is on October 20th. It's streaming live on their Facebook. There's also some other super exciting matches on this card. We have Marcelo Nunez versus Kit Dale. We just saw Marcelo on Quintet as well versus Hassam Rita.
Yeah, and Kit Dale's starting to get active again. I feel like he kind of like dropped off for a little bit, and now he's starting to ramp up.
He just beat Tommy Langacker at that ADCC event.
Yep.
And that was we missed it on the show because I caught it the following week. I was like, how did I fucking miss this?
And then he had the super fight a couple of weeks before that even.
Oh, yeah. Who's against then?
I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, but he all of a sudden like kind of popped up again out of nowhere and was like, oh, I'm going to compete again.
Yeah.
Like you
awesome.
watch Craig Jones and like, no shit, there's money in this now?
So, hey, great to have him back.
Yeah, because he was one of the first Australian guys that like that started to become a personality,
Right.
kind of like Jones did, because he
Right.
started to get into acting, and he's kind of back into grappling now at this point.
Yeah.
Also on this card, Muhammad Ali versus Rodolfo Vieira
That's going to be gangster.
in the fucking gi.
That's going to be gangster.
Yo, Rodolfo posted about this, and he was like, a lot of people have not seen me compete in the kimono. I don't know why I'm using a Brazilian accent there. He's like, my family hasn't seen me compete in the kimono, so it's like, this is in the kimono. Dude, Rodolfo Vieira is going to fight the current fucking world champion in the gi.
Yeah.
In the gi.
That's
Like,
hey.
that's exciting.
Yep. Absolutely. So
Muhammad Ali has looked like a monster recently.
absolutely
So,
unstoppable.
This is one of those like showcase matches, like the old guard versus like the young upcoming new guard.
Yep.
Also on this card, if we didn't say it enough,
We ain't
Gilbert
done.
Dorino Burns versus DJ Jackson. Again,
That's
Jackson was at Grappling Industries Maryland this weekend. Is at CBD Invitational in 6 days.
just quick turnaround, super active. You know, they clearly like, you know, I think they're willing to take any and all competition, never
yeah.
not be competing, you know, like while they're healthy and just always being 100% on. So
On the ground.
there's no longer is there a competition season anymore. It seems
No.
like it's
There's
just
a no-gi season,
Right.
but it's always comp season. So also on this card, this is the last match, Edwin Najmi versus Rafael Domingos. So
also
again,
going to be amazing.
another amazing match. This card is loaded with really good matches, and it's streaming free on Facebook.
Yep.
Like, think about this, dude. We're going to get Rodolfo Vieira and Muhammad Ali free on Facebook.
Yep.
Like,
It's going to be great.
Analia Vieira, Catherine Perret,
Edwin Najmi.
Mesquita,
Yep.
Montero.
Yep.
Like,
DJ
God
Jackson,
damn.
everybody.
This is a really good free card. If you're going to watch Jiu-Jitsu, you have literally no excuse not to watch this card. So go back
Enjoy
and
it.
go and watch it. Enjoy it. I'm super excited to see this, to see their first annual.
So look for that October 20th on Saturday.
Also on October 20th, also streaming on Facebook, Serious Grappling is having an event. There's a ton of competitors on this card. One notable name, or there's a bunch of notable names, but one guy we want to keep a look at is Koshal. Yep,
Yeah.
Koshal is on this one. Andrew Koshal is taking on Zane Hendrickson.
Oh man, Koshal is the one. If you check our Instagram, we posted an amazing armbar finish that he did a couple months ago now, I think, right?
Something
maybe a
like
month ago.
No, probably a month and a half, 2 months ago, something
Yeah.
like that. It's
Just tremendous.
in overtime in one of the events we covered.
Yeah.
Beautiful transition to triangle, put the
And
guy out.
the whole match was amazing. Like, you know, not just a finish. The whole match was really good. He's one of those fighters to definitely kind of keep an eye on. And he's going to be active. This is the first of a couple events that he's going to be competing in. So definitely go check him out.
So
really
yeah, that is coming up on Facebook. Looking at Serious Grappling. It's spelled Sirius. So that's the spelling for it. They're streaming live on Facebook on the 20th. So on to our preview of Fight to Win 90 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on October 19th. I'm going to go to this fucking event.
I'm going to go to this fucking event.
I'm super excited. I love covering Fight to Win live. I love when they get close enough where you can drive like up. It's on a Friday, so it's going to be a hell of a drive with a hell of a traffic. But I'm excited. This event is going to be main evented by black belt welterweight title JT Torres versus Dylan Royce. What were you saying before I cut you
I'm
off?
so excited for this, man. It's going to be awesome. This is my first fight to win.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I haven't been to one yet. And
Dude, it's a trip, Dad. Dude.
Yeah.
And it's in the 2300 arena. It's always sold out. It's a super, like, I want to say small, but like compact arena. It's got like there's a ton of standing room. It is a spectacle at the 2300 arena. I've been to MMA fights there. I've been to Fight to Win there. Dude, the crowd is lit. The guys are live. It's a super good event.
Dude, and then like on top of that, we have Barrett Yoshida on the co-main
And
event
Christian
too.
Woodmansey.
Dude, this is gonna be awesome.
Dude, Christian Woodmansey like talked to me for like 20 minutes last time at Philly, and just like
Awesome.
talked about his gym, talked about his guys. He had a brown belt on the card. I think it's on the card as well, defending his brown belt title. Let me look down here real quick. Yep, Dennis Presley Jr. Presley Jr. is taking on John Battle, who we've seen on a ton of super fights as well. That's for the brown belt featherweight no-gi title. He has the title at featherweight in the gi right now, so it'll be really exciting to see how he looks. I don't think he has a lot of time left at brown belt with how he's been looking recently. So super exciting for that. Lower in the card, we have 215 black belt gi match, Tim Carpenter versus Drew Puzon.
Yep.
I always fuck up the man's name. 210 black belt gi match, Jay Cox versus Steve Manthis. 200-pound black belt gi match, Earl Small versus Hodge Bryson Barnett. 190-pound black belt gi match, Nick Calvanese versus Ed Sheridan. He was the main event last time on Philly, and I think he was the co-main for Baltimore, or like third from the top on Baltimore.
We've seen him. We've seen his.
He had a no-gi match with Dorino last time that was awesome. It was like a Greco standing match that was super entertaining, and then he had a good match in the gi in Baltimore. So 180-pound black belt gi match.
Patches Childers versus Chris Diaz. 170 black belt gi match. Brad Court versus Brian White. 165-pound black belt gi match. Will Martinez versus David Porter.
Oh, shit. David Porter?
Yeah.
David Darst Porter. That'll be an exciting match. David Porter gave a really cool interview I think it's the same David Porter, on the Grapplers Union podcast a couple months, maybe more than a couple months ago. Really cool interview. He talks about how into stats he is, and he has literally every single stat for every single match he's ever done. Like how many times he's knee cut to the left side and it's been successful.
Jesus.
Like insane levels of stack. I think it's David Porter who did this. So this will be a match to watch.
155-pound black belt gi match. Pete Schumacher versus Matthew Schellenschlager.
From Conquest, a local guy, local Baltimore guy,
Maryland.
from about 30 minutes away from us.
Yep.
135-pound black belt gi match.
Sarah Block versus Vanessa Wexler.
Oh, sweet. Vanessa Wexler again. We saw her at brown belt. We've seen her at black belt. Super active competitor from Gadesi Bada. And then brown belt featherweight title, Dennis Presley Jr. versus John Battle. Then we have a brown belt light heavyweight gi title, Felipe Rocha versus Dominic Tabata. How do I say that name?
Tabita.
I completely butchered that.
Oh, and that's Balance. So that's
my team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an affiliate
the
of yours.
homeboys. Dude, I'm getting excited thinking about this event.
Yeah.
Like, that drive's going to suck a little bit, but in all honesty, it's honestly like an hour and a half drive. On Friday, I assume it's going to be like 2.5.
I'm
maybe
leaving
2.
early to get there, but yeah.
We're not going to carpool?
No, because I was gonna hang out in Philly afterwards. So
That's fine.
You on your own,
I realized
baby.
I just learned we're not going to carpool. I was like, I assume we're going to carpool. You're like, no,
no, I will
fuck
see you there.
I will see you there, good sir, and I will not see you after the event.
That's right.
So, that kind of sucks. That's going to be a shitty drive now. I'm way less excited about that. I'm still super excited about it. I'm just way less excited about the drive. Anyone knows me knows I absolutely hate driving. So
It's gonna be worth it though.
Dude, definitely. Dude, it's a Friday event too. It's on a Friday, then we got 2 events to cover on Saturday. So, again, another fun week of grappling coming up. We have some really, again, cool events this weekend, really cool events coming up soon. ADCC is getting into it. We have Spider coming up. We have Kasai Pro 4. We have Sub Spectrum coming up. UAE Grand Slam, King of Mats, Sapatero, Grapple Fest, Man of War. Like, there is a ton of stuff going on. Polaris has been announced. We have Copa Podia coming up. Like, the next couple months, dude.
It's gonna be intense.
Strap in. There's some really good jiu-jitsu to watch.
But
so.
hey, everyone remember Kasai Pro 4. That's the one. November 10th. It's going to be off the chain. Keep your eyes out. Everything's pretty much already listed. We've talked about it, but I'm really looking forward to that too.
That's exciting. So what else we got going on this week, Emil? Not much. I've got to literally leave now because promotion started at 7 p.m. and it is 7:02 at the gym. So I've literally got to get my ass scooting fast.
All right.
I will get home and edit this episode and it will be out in like 5 hours from now.
Excellent. You're a beast, man.
That's good. That was a super awkward way to end this.
Yeah. Well,
right.
That's how we're going to end it.
All right. I've been Maine.
I've been Emil.
And we will see you on the mats. This is the Grappling Rewind.
As always, you can email us at thegrapplingrewind@gmail.com. You can check us out on Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, and pretty much anywhere you can find
Facebook.
Podcast. We're on Facebook, Grappling Rewind,
Instagram,
Grappling Rewind,
Twitter.
Grappling Rewind.
Reach out to us on social media. If you got something that you want us to cover, you want to clarify, we are here.
You want to tell us we're idiots? Hey, let us know.
You want us to pronounce your name correctly?
Let us know. Subscribe on the YouTube page. Leave us a review.
Helps us out a lot.
It helps us out, and it eventually will help you out. We like to give back. We're doing this as something that isn't done, so help us help you. This is the Grappling Rewind podcast.
We'll see you on the mats.